Hello and welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the new Megacast studios, live from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM, our flagship TV and radio stations here on the Oakland County Megacast. As always, today we are joined by Birmingham Area Municipal Access, also much like us at Civic Center TV, on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, as well as online. We're also joined by 88.1 WBFH, the Biff, joining us today out of the Bloomfield Hills School District, as they do each and every day on the show. Thank Ron Whittables and their entire team over there for joining us on the program. And as always, from her home studio in Keego Harbor, here is Ronnie Dahl.
Hey, Tyler, happy snowy Fat Tuesday.
Yes, a very snowy day. Definitely an interesting drive in today to the studio, and because it's also a day where the school district isn't in session in person at Chico Elementary, which we're on the campus of course. They don't plow the parking lot, so it's also an experience in deep snow driving as well. But off to a nice start here today, regardless.
How long did it take you to get into work?
It didn't take too terribly long. It took me maybe about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. It's a little longer than usual, but luckily the roads were not necessarily clear in all possible ways, except for necessarily the traffic was better than it normally is, as people were driving a little more cautiously and keeping their distance. So things went well, and it was all in all a pretty simple drive in to work today.
So I was expecting to come in today, so I got up a little bit earlier than usual, went out, shoveled the driveway and a portion of the sidewalk, and also for the dog as well. But I remember last night telling my husband, hey, no, it could be 10 to 12 inches of snow. So he goes and he gets his ruler. He's like, that's not that much. Well, it's not that much until you're actually trying to shovel it. We have a service that comes through the neighborhood, but they don't do your driveways. And I think we're like the bottom of the list, because I haven't seen them out there yet. And so it could be by the end of the day. But since I was out there, I was like, oh. So I said, hey, it's obviously it's Punchki Day, right? So I had the intentions of going to Hamtramck yesterday and didn't make it. But so I went out this morning, took the dog, and we went out and we got some punchki. But I will say I kind of cheated. No, I severely cheated, because I went to Dunkin' Donuts. And I said, wait, I don't want jelly donuts.
Oh, no.
Do you have punchki? And they said yes. So, Tyler, if I was there with you, I'd give you one. But you know what? They're like 500 calories and 20 grams of fat.
Yeah, it's a lot. But we'll through osmosis of TV and radio, I will consume the punchki, and you will have the fun yourself in your home studio, Ronnie.
Well, I did go ahead and take my dog with me, and so I got her a pup cup. This is a puppuccino, which is nothing more than whipped cream, right? And my husband's like, would you do that for a kid? Would you let them eat dessert before breakfast? I'm like, it's a special day. Right, Trixie? She hasn't had her breakfast yet. She's just coming in from outside. So, but yeah, so she started her day off with a cup of whipped cream.
Very nice. I'm sure Trixie is having a great start to a Tuesday, starting off with a cup of whipped cream. We know how much she likes those.
But there's a lot of history behind Punchki Day as well. And of course, for us here in Metro Detroit, it's a huge holiday because of the fact that we have a large Polish population in the Hamtramck area. Typically, I will go to Hamtramck to try to get them because they are so incredible. They're at the local bakeries, and usually I would do the 5K every year there in Hamtramck. It was the Punchki run, and you finished the 5K and you got a Punchki, which, by the way, a Punchki is plural. Did you know that?
Yes, I learned that on one of the news stations in the last couple of years, that punchki is plural. Yes.
Yeah, so it's Ponchek is actually just a single.
Yes.
Punchki, if that makes sense. But we all say Punchki, right? But when you do the 5K there in Hamtramck and it was canceled this year, or they did it virtually, when you finish the race, you get a Punchki and a beer. You gotta love Hamtramck.
You do. Very nice hospitality there, especially after a 5K, especially this time of the year too. Not nice to be rewarded after that hard work in the morning, especially in our conditions here in Michigan at this time of the year.
Yeah, so we should talk. It's a little bit crazy out there this morning, so I only went around the corner to the store, but it's been pretty crazy out there. So everyone who's out there driving, please be cautious. They're doing a pretty good job on some of the main roads, but it's still snowing. So give a little bit of grace, and as we always say, and you've always heard, slow down. Give yourself plenty of extra time to get into work or to wherever you need to go, but also give the snow plows plenty of room as well.
Yeah, we hear it all the time from our good friend Craig Bryson, who will be joining us later on in the show. We just confirmed that with him. He always says, don't crowd the plow. Give them some space. Always give them some space, because if anything else, they're clearing the way for you. So if you let them do their job, give them the space that they need to do their work, it's only going to help you, and it's going to help you pretty immediately, because you're going to get that nice, clean, freshly plowed road ahead of you the entire way that you're following them, at least.
Right. And so we will say, I know the city of Detroit, Tyler, if we can kind of jump into the headlines, the city of Detroit actually postponed their vaccinations for today due to the big snowstorm. And so everyone in the city of Detroit that had some type of vaccine scheduled for today, that is now going to be taking place on Saturday. But also making news on CivicCenterTV.com, there is a vaccine shortage, and it's forcing Beaumont to cancel appointments as well. So Beaumont Health announced Monday it's canceled nearly 2,000 appointments this week for people expecting their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. The health system canceled 1,884 second dose appointments. They were scheduled for Thursday after learning on Friday of an unexpected reduction in the Pfizer vaccine allocations from the state. Hospital system said it is working to reschedule those appointments 1 week later on the same day. At the same time, barring the state supplies enough of the vaccine by then. Additionally, Beaumont Health will not schedule new first dose vaccine appointments at the Beaumont Service Center until it gets more doses of the Pfizer vaccine. It just goes to show that there is such a huge logistic issue, Tyler, with trying to get these vaccines distributed and in the arms of the public.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, because not only do you have to make sure you have the right amount of vaccines arriving to you that corresponds to the number of people that you are injecting the vaccine into, whether it be dose 1, whether it be dose 2, or both over an extended period of time. There are other factors as well, logistical errors that include shipping mistakes. They don't ship enough to you, or they don't all get to the right location. And then there's other errors as well. In this case, with the Pfizer vaccine, it has to be kept in very special, very cold conditions in very special containment that can provide that cold capacity. And if something goes wrong with keeping the vaccinations that temperature, the correct temperature needs to be for storage, and it's out of that temperature for too long of a period of time, it's no longer a viable vaccine, and that also can cause some issues. So a lot of logistical problems to work through in order to just get these vaccines into people's arms altogether.
But as we are trying to figure out the logistics with this on a state level, Michigan has now decided to distribute vaccines to health centers that are serving vulnerable people. So the state of Michigan will begin distributing vaccine to certain federally qualified health centers to ensure those at highest risk of serious COVID-19 complications, racial or ethnic minorities, or people with lower incomes or disabilities are prioritized for vaccines. The new program also will prioritize vaccinations for mortuary workers, and starting March 1st, roughly 79,000 workers in the food processing settings, as well as on the farming settings as well. So the 41 federally qualified health centers eligible under the new strategy strategy will help to vaccinate people over the age of 65 who are in medically underserved areas. Separately, health providers with specific plans to remove socioeconomic barriers to the vaccine will be allowed to request a vaccine for folks over 60. Really what this is, Tyler, is we just did the story recently about the state of Michigan not keeping a track of the race data and more information regarding some of the disparities with COVID-19. This is kind of a response to that, but they're still in the process of trying to figure out how they can collect that data on the state level.
Yeah, trying to catch up and make up for those mistakes that they've made so far in tracking the racial output of the COVID-19 vaccines and making sure that they are doing this in an equitable manner. And so providing these vaccinations to socioeconomically impacted populations, to more vulnerable populations, and expanding that out is a way for them to play a little bit of catch up, make up for their mistakes a little bit while they try to make up for the data they haven't collected and get a better understanding of COVID-19's impact on the state of Michigan as this goes on.
And of course, it's not only a logistical problem that so many of our health officials and state leaders are worried about, also the variants with COVID-19. The makers of COVID-19 vaccines are figuring out how to tweak their recipes against the virus mutations, and regulators are looking to the flu as a blueprint if and when the shots need an update. Viruses do mutate constantly, and it takes just the right combination of mutations to escape vaccination. But studies are raising concern that the first generation COVID-19 vaccines don't work as well as against a mutant that first emerged in South Africa as they do against other versions circulating right now around the world. So the good news, though, many of the new COVID-19 vaccines are made with new flexible technology that is easy to upgrade. What is harder, though, deciding if the virus has mutated enough that it's time to modify those vaccines and what changes are needed to address the changes. So the FDA looking to the global flu vaccine system and deciding how to handle similar decisions about COVID-19 shots. Influenza mutates much faster than the coronavirus, and flu shots have to be adjusted just about every year. Anyone who gets a flu shot, you're well aware that it does change, and the strains change as well. And so that's why you need to get it each and every year.
Yeah, that's one of the main concerns with fighting off a virus like COVID-19 that still is really in its infancy, only about 11 months into the pandemic portion of it, and a little bit over a year since it was first discovered overseas. Now we're at a point where these mutations are going to continue to happen, and we have to be cognizant of that in our community as we take precautions against the spread of COVID-19, and in the medical community as they continue to battle the pandemic and try to bring this to an orderly and effective end. And that's going to have an impact certainly on these vaccines. We're already seeing that testing ramping up to determine which vaccines may or may not be effective against certain variants of the COVID-19 virus. And as more vaccines begin to go into production and continue to be in production, that's something that certainly these companies and definitely the government are going to be considering in the efficacy of these vaccinations.
Tyler, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm just happy I'm at the back of the bus when it comes to the vaccine because, I feel like it's going to give so much time for a lot of these issues to be worked out. But also, I want the Johnson & Johnson one, so I only have to get, the shot in my arm once. But again, that's months down the road. But with that, though, we know that they're doing so much work behind the scenes and around the clock to try to address the coronavirus and the crisis. But boy, it is an ongoing battle. And also, by the way, did you hear that Biden is going to be here in Michigan? I believe Thursday he's coming to visit the Pfizer vaccine over in the Kalamazoo area where they're actually manufacturing the vaccine. Yeah,
I did hear that he is going to be visiting and get a frontline perspective on the production duration of this vaccination and how that continues to be going, how their output and logistical systems are currently working, and if that's still viable. Get an inside look, as it's proper to do from a leadership perspective, as you are leading the country's response to COVID-19 with these variants out there and these other variables that continue to be in play as we try to get the population in the U.S. vaccinated to a point where we can no longer be concerned about COVID-19.
Well, with that, though, as a reminder, you can always find the latest headlines. Go to civiccentertv.com, and that's where you'll find the headlines. Just click on the coronavirus tab at the top of the page, but also at the top of that page, you'll find direct links to some of the resources so that you can do some of your own research. And that includes links to the CDC, the state of Michigan, as well as Oakland County, because this information changes not only daily, but sometimes hourly as well. And we try to keep you informed as best as we can, but also that's a good way for you to do your own research. So with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast, but we have a great show ahead for you. We will be speaking with the Posh teacher. Who is she and how did she get started, as well as Eastern Market. We'll also be speaking with our good friends over at Meadowbrook, as well as Protege Games. Who are they and how are they handling the pandemic? And we are also going to check in with Craig Bryson with the Oakland County Road Commission to see how things are going out there on the roads as well. That's coming up after the break.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
The only way to beat COVID-19 is to face it.
You can't get too comfortable.
You can't forget the danger.
Wear the mask. Wear the mask.
Wear the mask. Wash your hands.
Keep a safe distance.
Especially in the next few months.
You know we'll get back to normal.
We'll get back to normal.
We'll get back to normal.
Someday.
But not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But not yet.
But not yet.
Consider virtual gatherings for the holidays.
Curbside food orders.
Grocery delivery.
And shopping local. Shop local.
And especially shopping local.
Let's beat this virus. We can if we face it together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together. Together.
For the latest information, visit oakgov.com/COVID.
Perry tested positive for COVID-19. Emma was exposed to a friend who's positive. Willa's waiting on test results. After any contact with COVID-19, or if you test positive, stay home for at least 10 days. If you live with others, keep your distance and wear a mask. Help Michigan contain COVID-19. Visit michigan.gov/contain-COVID.
Taking time out of your day to be with us here on the Megacast. For those that maybe are tuning in for the first time, you can always catch Tyler and myself Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon. You can tune in on CivicCenterTV.com, but you can also watch us on TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, Channel 15 if you have Comcast, 99 on AT&T, or if you're out driving around, you can listen to us on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff, And we are also live streaming today's edition of the Megacast over on the West Bloomfield Parks Department's Facebook page. So we want to say thank you to them. And all of those platforms is what makes us the Megacast. We try to utilize various platforms out there to be able to bring you this information because we are all adapting and trying to live with COVID-19 and the ongoing crisis. And with this right now, let's go ahead and bring in the Posh teacher, Carla Devecchi. She is the founder and the owner. Carla, great to have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, I need to start because I'm like, what is the Posh teacher?
Well, Posh teacher is twofold. It is, the concept was, I want to elevate teachers. I want to put them in the limelight because I think they really need to be presented to society and show the contributions they've made. And on the other aspect of it, the fun part of it is I think we need to bring more fashion and glam into the world of education. And so that's kind of how this all began.
You definitely have some pizzazz. I'm looking at your tree behind you. I'm like, how fun is that? But now, are you also a teacher?
Yes, I've been teaching for over 25 years. And hence, that's the drive that's brought this, this platform that I've created is through all these experiences I've had in the teaching world.
And so with that, I do know some teachers, and in the beginning, they want to be stylish, but then like once they get into teaching, it's like, what is comfortable for me to make it through the day?
Exactly. And, there's things that you can still look good. And actually I did a video for teachers on looking good on Zoom. You can still, and students notice those things. So through the years, I've noticed they pay attention to not just what you're teaching, but how you present yourself. So,
but do you feel like you also kind of have to be up to date on pop culture and fashion to help you relate to your students?
Definitely, you do. And that makes it easier in the classroom teaching them. I interviewed a teacher actually from California, Dr. Buffoni, and he actually got involved doing TikToks with his students. And that made, actually he's a TikTok star now. Dr. Buffoni is amazing. But that was a connection that he made with his students. And I think, again, I was able to share this on my platform to bring these little stories out that, we really can't, sometimes teachers don't get to share all that.
So with that, Carla Devecchi with us, she's the founder and owner for Posh Teacher. You have a YouTube page as well, in which you do interview a lot of other educators. How did that come about?
Well, actually, from my own personal experience, having met so many teachers and witnessed all the things that they do in their teaching life, I felt that I wanted to bring that out to society and really share their stories because their commitment to the world of education is phenomenal. And there's a lot of things that we don't see. Education, I think, as sometimes has been pushed aside and hasn't been elevated to where it should be. And so what I want to do is I literally want to talk to as many teachers as I can to really share their story and have people see all the things that they do, even behind the scenes in the world of education, especially right now with COVID. There's been a lot of things happening in that world.
Yeah, because before the pandemic, a lot of people that maybe even didn't have kids, we all thought, oh, you guys just work like 7 to 3 and you get summers off. But it really is a full-time post-school hours as well. You're working so much more. But with that, when it comes to COVID and the pandemic, how has this been for you as a teacher?
Definitely. I mean, it's a change in your world, in your lifestyle. We started out teaching completely virtual. And just from that aspect, you have to create your space in home, and you have to pray that the dog doesn't bark when the UPS guy goes by. Because so there's those things that, again, are challenges in your workspace. And also keeping students engaged on Zoom. I think you really have to get more creative. The positive aspect, though, I felt is that I feel like I'm more one-on-one with students sometimes on Zoom. When they need to meet with you after class, it's more face-to-face, and you don't have distractions that the school would have. So there's been some positive, but again, children do need to interact. And so going back to school hybrid, which is we go back a few days a week, has been good for them and for teachers too, to see our students. But again, a little challenging, as you know.
Has it also helped your students kind of relate to you a little bit more if the dog is barking, if the kid is crying, because then they can see you as an individual and not just a teacher?
Completely.
I don't mean just a teacher, by the way.
It's okay. No, I totally, yes. Actually, and I can show more things. The other day, I teach high school, and we were talking something, and I threw in Star Wars, and literally here in my workspace, I have my little Yoda. So I pulled this out, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Senora!" They were not expecting it. So you can do really fun, unexpected things, and yes, they can relate to you a little bit more in your world. Yeah.
So with that too, what's been the response to you from parents during this time? Are they appreciating you and your fellow teachers a lot more?
Definitely. We had virtual parent-teacher conferences, and you don't know how much positive feedback we got. The parents are like, "Wow, I don't know how you do this. Thank you so much." And especially a lot of kids have been challenging, mentally feeling, depression, a little sad. And so they're like, "Thank you for just reaching out to my child." So very positive feedback. And yes, the parents have been great. Really have been.
Carla Devecchi with us here on the Megacast. She is not only a teacher, she is the Posh Teacher, the founder and the owner. When did you start your company?
I started about a year and a half ago, and it's just been a very exciting ride. For the fashion aspect, I'm a certified image consultant, and I have a book in progress, and talking about how your clothes really say a lot about you, and I'm focusing obviously on the educational world, and so that kind of triggered that, and also just reaching out to teachers. And I have a background in journalism from the University of Michigan. And I think this is where I was able to bring that out a little bit, and as well as my teaching background. So it's created a great mix. I've had positive feedback from teachers that want to share their world with me. And it's been so exciting.
Who's been the most inspirational teacher that you've been able to connect with since you've started this platform?
Wow, don't make me pick. Let me know.
Okay, give us two, and then tell us where we can go and watch all of the interviews.
I like that. I'm going to share actually the most recent one I just interviewed. One of the most recent ones is Evelyn, and she's a teacher that started out, actually she's from the Dominican Republic. She calls it the DR. And her journey is fascinating. I mean, she came from a very small town, kind of a challenging upbringing, and then just the amazing stories that she shared, what got her to become a teacher, literally coming to America and sharing what she went through, and then the personal stories. She even shares a letter from a student that she taught in kindergarten and is now a senior in high school, and literally texted her, write us the text on our interview, and it'll make you cry. So you better have a box of tissues when you check out Evelyn's interview. Again, those things, when I saw her, after she read that, we were teary-eyed, and I said, this is what teaching is all about. So those are those stories that you want to hear them, and they really will just elevate these amazing, beautiful teachers. I'll share one more. I have a teacher that is a former teacher, and she sells candles from the Chalkboard Candle Company, which I have on my website. And she donates part of the proceeds from her sales, puts them actually in a drawing, and she picks a teacher's name every time she's ready to do a drawing, and that teacher gets a check in the mail from part of her sales. And she said, teachers don't do many things for themselves. You know, a lot of times we're given money, but it's for the classroom or your, you know, something related to school. She's like, teachers need to be admired and acknowledged. This check is for you. So she does that with her company. So great things, great things.
It really is a beautiful format in which they give back to educators throughout the country, because we do know that you really are the future of our country, because you're helping to guide and to lead and to teach the next generation that's going to run our country. And so with that, how important has it been for you to be able to connect with these educators, and how has it changed during the COVID time? Has that conversation changed a lot?
Definitely, it has changed. First of all, you know, a lot of them have shared a lot of more challenges that they've had in the profession. And sadly, some have decided to retire due to the health circumstances. Also, it's their learning styles have definitely evolved. I interviewed a first grade teacher that teaches obviously virtually and has told me, you know, it can be really exhausting to be on Zoom all day with, with the first graders. So there has been a lot of changes in the profession, but I have to say these teachers have been troopers. We've supported each other, and have worked through this. And they've looked at the funny stuff about it, the entertaining things about it. First grade teacher, quick story. She said one day her student mid-class said, I have a loose tooth, and she showed it on Zoom, and then you have 20 little faces on Zoom showing their teeth and their loose teeth. So again, we just have to embrace the little things that we have right now.
Oh, that is so adorable. But there are a lot of teachers that are leaving the profession right now. Have you been able to get your vaccine?
I've got my first dose, and my second one is in 2 weeks. So I'm really, and actually I posted that on my Instagram, excuse me, when I got my first dose, because I really wanted to support and show, that we are here for everybody, and we're ready to take on the challenges. Yes, I'm looking forward to getting my second dose, and being and feeling a little safer, because I teach around a little bubble right now. I'm surrounded by a little bubble, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, and with that too, a snow day today, or no?
Well, I'm on break, so I'm kind of gypped. I got gypped of a snow day. So it's winter break, so everybody is home anyways.
And we do know that it was like, our snow day's going away, but we have talked to a few superintendents on the show, and they're saying no, there are still going to be snow days because of just that, especially the hybrid model. Some coming in, some going out, and them not learning, and that learning. So there are still going to be snow days now.
I know. I'm so excited. Yes, they're important to us. You don't know how important.
Well, with that, Carla, where can people find out more information about you? And now, are you running a store off of your Instagram? Is that how it works?
I have a website, so you can go straight to the website. It's poshteacher1.com, and you can find all the glam and posh things that you need to look good, and not just for teachers. And I make my famous pom-pom earrings. I'm also a knitter on the side, so I've done a few little things with Vogue Knitting Live. And you can also follow me on Instagram at poshteacher1, and on YouTube, Posh Teacher. You can look at amazing interviews, and we'd love you to subscribe and support us. We really appreciate it.
It really is fun what you're doing as well. But I'm like, how do you find the time on top of teaching as well?
It's challenging, but you know what? It actually sparks my creativity. Being a teacher helps actually my platform. So it all kind of just comes together, and it's pretty exciting. I do an after-school video quite often on my Instagram and share just some facts about my teaching day, and then a little bit things in my shop that teachers might want.
I will say I'm kind of glad that this is my last day working at home. I'll be heading back into the studio because I'm looking at your backdrop, and it is so adorable. I need to up my game.
Oh my God. No, I've worked on it a while. Thank God my sign didn't fall off. I have a sign there. On one interview, it was like this. I was like, oh, please don't fall today.
Well, it looks great. It's been so fun having you with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate it. And thank you for supporting those teachers out there. Thank you.
Oh, and thank you for being a teacher. I think a lot of parents are much more appreciative right now. And also, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to get some of those millages passed following COVID-19 when teachers are asking for more money, because you really are the heroes throughout this entire pandemic. And I will say, though, go back to the old math.
Yeah, I'm kind of that way too.
So many parents are like, 1 + 1 is 2.
I agree. That complicated stuff, I don't get that either.
Oh, well, Carla, thank you again for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate it. Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Just as a reminder to everyone, you're listening to us on 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM, The Biff, and also tuning us in if you have Comcast Channel 15 and then 99 on AT&T. We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast, and when we return, we will be headed to the Eastern Market in downtown Detroit. This is the Megacast.
COVID-19 has caused many families to fall behind on finances and on groceries, but you're not alone. You shouldn't have to worry about putting food on the table. MyBridges offers access to quality food and income assistance to help families across the state get the food support they need. It's easy to apply and easy to start shopping. Apply for services at michigan.gov/MIBridges. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back to the Megacast. Tyler, I will say during the break, I've been snacking on my Puchki here. There's a custard one and a strawberry. And I really got the strawberry for my husband. But I'm like, can I take the calories out?
That would make it a lot better. That would make it a lot more fun. You know, you wouldn't have that little guilt in the back of your head being like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this, and you could still have all the enjoyment of your custard-filled punchki.
Well, I will say that I'm giving them up for Lent, so I won't have them for the next 40 days.
That is a great idea.
Does it taste anything different than a donut?
What? With us now, Christine Quane.
Shocking entrance.
And I'm like, you are with the Food Hub and Innovation Director for Eastern Market Partnership.
Yes.
How can you even ask such a question? They are not a jelly donut. They are heaven. Have you ever gone to Hamtramck to get yours?
Yes. I like the traditional flavors, the plum and those coming out of things that you don't normally find at a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, not like a jelly donut, but like a prune, plum.
Yes.
I will say I did cheat and I got mine at Dunkin' Donuts. And they're not the same. If you have never gone to Hamtramck, to Martha's Bakery and some of the other bakeries there in Hamtramck to get, punchki, you have to at least once in your life, especially if you're here in the Metro Detroit area. But I know, Christine, you said that you're still at home this morning because of the snow.
Yes. It's a lot. I haven't even attempted to shovel, so I'm glad we're doing the Zoom.
Exactly. But with that, when it comes to Eastern Market, how are you guys doing right now during the pandemic? I've been to the farmers market a few times and it's still a pretty decent crowd, not where we used to be, but still pretty popular.
Yeah, we've had to do a big pivot to change our operations to make sure that it's safe for all of our patrons coming in. And one of the things that we decided to do by mid-March, I think, when we knew that the pandemic was serious and we were all starting to be on lockdown, we decided to try out making an online platform for our Saturday market so that we could offer touchless curbside delivery to those who still wanted local and fresh food but didn't feel safe to come out to the market. So we launched an online platform in 10 days from idea. We started with a pilot of 50 produce boxes. So what we decided to do was we support about 45 small farmers. And so we created a produce box of fresh Michigan produce and launched with 50 of those, sold out in an hour. The next week, we upped our game to 150, sold out in an hour and a half, and then started to add in all of the value-added products like, bread and eggs and jams and jellies. And somewhere in there, we had to change our online platform and adapt to this whole new program and way of doing things safely. But now we're still doing that. And now we have I think a system that will not go away anytime soon. And actually this particular online platform has, I think, brought not just folks who prefer to have a curbside touchless delivery, but other folks that might have been maybe unable to handle the crowds, maybe have a physical disability of some sort. And it just made us more accessible to a new group of people. So kind of a benefit that came out of this pandemic is this program. And other things that we've done in the Eastern Market is we've separated our vendors. We've spaced out folks a lot. We've added visual signage around the market, urging people to spread out. And we have our staff that have masks for people who might forget them in their car or at home. Hand sanitizer and washing stations. And we've just really tried to think of everything that we can that would make people safe and feel comfortable coming to the market.
And the good thing is it is a little bit more open air in some of the sheds too, the outdoor sheds. But if we can go back to a minute about the prepackaged boxes, have you seen it ebb and flow as the restaurants open and close as well?
Yeah. So in the first, like I said, we were selling out a ton every week. And I think the height of the produce boxes was probably in May. We sold about 350 per week then. And it's actually, it's come down a lot as people feel more comfortable getting outside and going to farmers markets on their own. That number has dropped. We have seen a slight uptick now that the weather is cold and people would kind of rather stay in their car. So I think we're seeing that as well.
But what does this mean on the backside for those local farmers? Are they doing better or worse during this time?
I think that they're doing okay, happily to say. We've been able, this program has actually, before this program, we ran a brokerage for the small farmers direct to restaurants. The program's called Grow Eastern Market. And we were selling a decent amount of produce from our farms every single week, but this really amped it up for us. And I think connected more of our farmers to a new direct-to-consumer market. And so we've actually been able to move considerably more food through this program than our previous program, which we continue to do. But it's since that program's designed to service restaurants, the direct to consumer is actually, obviously moving more produce right now. So I think they're doing okay. I think that the pandemic has really awakened people's sense of what local food is and how important it is. I think there's something about the Michigan spirit of supporting local, kind of in our soul with the automotive industry. Like, we understand what it means to, buy from the big three automakers and how that supports our economy. I think the same message translates now in local food. I think people get that.
Christine Quane with us here on the Megacast. She's the Food Hub and Innovation Director for Eastern Market Partnership. And with that, Christine, it's like you said, before it was so easy to maybe go to the grocery store, especially way back in the beginning of the pandemic when that supply chain was disrupted, people were going local. And now we're looking at it, and agriculture plays a huge part in our economy here in the state of Michigan. So are you seeing, or do you anticipate coming out of post-pandemic, if we ever get there, people are going to continue to buy local?
Yeah, I think it's been a great opportunity for people to understand the importance of local. And also, our produce box features all Michigan farmers. And it's been a great opportunity for us to teach people what's growing in the seasons and to teach seasonality. And we've recently added a Facebook Live event on Saturdays where we're making recipes with the produce from the produce box for people who get our produce box. So that's been really fun too. And a new way to kind of teach people seasonality, how to cook with things that maybe they wouldn't normally cook with. And we've been getting a ton of feedback from a lot of our customers about, how they are trying produce that they haven't tried before, interesting squashes and bok choy and other things that they just didn't even know that we grew in the state of Michigan. And yeah, Michigan, that's our second economic driver, is agriculture and agribusiness. And we grow over 150 different specialty crops here. And I think a lot of people don't realize all the things that we can grow and that we're still growing. Our box is still a local box. And here we are, in the middle of February, and still putting greens and squashes and root crops in our box and teaching people the importance of eating seasonal produce.
This kind of feels like the better version of some of these home delivery services. So we used to do one, and you go in, like, you pick your meal every 2 weeks, and then they'd send it to you once a week, and you can make it, and everything's in the box. But this seems like a better way to do it, especially if you can teach me how to use those vegetables and some of the ingredients that come in the box, because it does introduce you to new foods.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had this really interesting, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, Takasumo squash, and it was huge and it was intimidating. But we offered two different recipes, and the squash actually made enough puree to go into both. And it was fun because one was a risotto, which was a savory risotto, and the other one was a quick bread. So you could have, squash for dinner and dessert. So it's been fun.
That is great. Risotto is so hard to make, though, or make well.
Just needs a lot of stirring.
So with that too, Eastern Market is more than just about the market. You guys do so many events, but also you rent out the sheds for a lot of events as well. Has your bottom line taken a hit because you can't have that source of revenue?
It has. As we have been renovating the sheds, we've put about, $18 million back into renovations of the sheds over the years, and they're beautiful. And more and more people have wanted to use them for weddings and special events, and people continue to do so. And we have been able to do a few events, but clearly not like we were, pre-pandemic. So it has been, sadly, something that, we have seen less activity on, but, I think we're going to start to see a few more things pop up as we are able. So
But
hopefully,
Eastern Market, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just hopefully we'll be able to do more and more of that as the months come on.
Especially going into the spring and the summer. Let's hope so. With that, though, we do know that Eastern Market, you guys are a huge partnership in the community. How have you had to adapt that side of your operations during this time?
I think that we've been I think we realize the value of our partnerships more now. You know, in the time of crisis, you really reach out more to your partnerships to become a stronger organization. And one of the ways that we've been able to do that is we applied for and were awarded of the USDA Farmers to Families program during the height of the pandemic. And that USDA program was centered around creating a food box like we've been doing for our curbside, but this particular food box went to families who were food insecure in the city of Detroit. So we partnered with 12 of our nonprofit partners who are on the front lines of food insecurity and produced 2,000 food boxes per week and got it to those organizations. So it was, we did that from May into the middle of September. It was quite an effort but something that we take a lot of pride in and we were happy to do.
That is a huge undertaking.
Yes.
But right now, so we're in the middle of winter. We're in the middle of a winter storm as well. And so many people, when they think Eastern Market, they think about that whole area, not just the market itself. But we're seeing a lot of changes right now in that entire region. Do you think that's going to help bolster your events, or is some of it also kind of a hindrance because you are bringing so many more people into that concentrated area?
I think on the net, it's a positive. I mean, I think that more and more people are interested in coming down to the Eastern Market District. I think what we're seeing is over the years, we've been able to create a safe and interesting and vibrant community that people feel welcome to come to see. And so things like, you know, the murals in the market, and there's new retail stores that are opening up that are fun, and it gets people off of the market campus and into the neighborhood more. And I think they're having a good time, and it's fun to discover all these little places that are kind of tucked away and in this, you know, in a working food district. So there's something completely authentic about the district. It's not glitzy, it's not glamorous, it's just authentic Detroit, and we're kind of proud to be a part of it and proud to support those that are coming into the market with their new business ideas. And then you have the DeQuinder Cut that's right there. So there's great ways to have like a complete perfect, what I think is a perfect Detroit day of coming to the market, perhaps renting a bike and getting out into the district and hitting the DeQuinder Cut and, you know, seeing more of the city that way.
And I used to work at Quane Communications, that building, and it was right around the corner. So it was great to be able to walk over to the market for lunch or to meet friends afterwards for dinner. But it's like you said, it is an experience. And the great thing is you do have the bicycles that are right there at Eastern Market. People can rent because you experience Detroit and you experience the area differently, walking or biking through the area, and it's continued to change. And I think the improvements have been fabulous and also very welcoming, because the one thing we want to see is that this is a market for everyone. Right. And to continue to have it and serve all of the communities here in the area, because like Milano Bakery, one of my favorite bakeries still to go to.
Yeah, it's been, and there's more things happening all of the time. You know, there's new, and sometimes people get upset because some things go away, but, you know, we have to embrace the change and understand that we're going to have new and exciting folks that are coming. There's always a reason to come down to Eastern Market.
Right. And we are seeing some of those outlying abandoned buildings that are starting to be renovated as well. But the murals are amazing. With that, just a couple more minutes here with you on the Megacast. We're speaking with Christine Quane. She's the Food Hub and Innovation Director over at Eastern Market Partnership. Anything in the works for this upcoming year? It's really a year of survival.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to plan in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes, I think that what we're trying to do is just hold on to all the businesses that we have and trying to do our best to support those folks that are struggling to kind of stay alive during this time. But I think that there are, new business ideas that are coming. One of the projects that we have that is coming online that we're working on is we have an accelerator. So we also support, in addition to farms, we also support food entrepreneurs that are making food products in our kitchen and in our Eastern Market kitchen. But after they've gone to scale, they need a place of their own to dedicate. And so we've been building out a 5-suite accelerator for individual use for businesses to scale their business in that direction. So that's kind of an exciting project that we've been working on that we're getting better at, and we'll see more businesses come online there.
Do you anticipate that arena to continue to grow? Because I know even urban farming there in the Detroit area has taken off, but it's attracting new and different people to the area.
Yeah, people have been, especially in the pandemic, some folks have unfortunately lost their jobs, and it's been a time for them to pivot their careers and to start that food business dream that maybe they've always had. And so we've seen a lot of interest in food businesses wanting to be in our commercial kitchen space in that area. So, and there's a lot of creativity out there, and sometimes in the moment of crisis, we're drawn to our best and most innovative and creative selves. So that's what we're hoping to foster through this pandemic and hopefully into the new year.
Oh, most definitely. I'm cooking challenged. So the food scene here in Detroit continues to grow and to improve. And so I have so much admiration and respect for some of these chefs and the individuals that are saying, let me go for my dream. Their passion is cooking and feeding other people. So let's hope that continues in the future as well. Christine, so great to have you with us here. We so appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.
Okay, anything quickly before we let you go that maybe we didn't touch on that you want to share?
I maybe just want to let folks know that if they are interested in ordering from our Saturday curbside program, they can always go to easternmarket.org and find out all of the events that we're having in the market and other things that they're interested. All things Eastern Market, easternmarket.org.
Well, thank you so much. Christine Quane with us here on the Megacast. We're going to take a quick break here on the show. And coming up in the next hour, we'll be speaking with Craig Bryson with the Oakland County Road Commission. A very busy day for them. And we'll also be speaking with the Director of External Relations for the Meadowbrook Estate. That's coming up next here on the Megacast.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
The only way to beat COVID-19 is to face it.
You can't get too comfortable.
You can't forget the danger.
Wear the mask. Wear the mask.
Wear the mask. Wash your hands.
Keep a safe distance.
Especially in the next few months.
We'll get back to normal.
We'll get back to normal.
We'll get back to normal.
Someday.
But not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But not yet.
But not yet.
Consider virtual gatherings for the holidays.
Curbside food orders.
Grocery delivery.
And shopping local. Shop local.
And especially shopping local.
Let's beat this virus. We can if we face it together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together. Together.
For the latest information, visit oakgov.com/COVID.
With us on this very snowy morning. You're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. And as a reminder, you can catch Tyler and myself Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon live on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. You can also catch us on Channel 15 if you have Comcast, 99 on AT&T. And then we also want to say thank you to the West Bloomfield Parks Department for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Megacast on their Facebook page. And with that, very snowy, but very comfy for those of us that get to stay in our home today. With us now, though, Shannon O'Berski. She's the Director of External Relations for the Meadowbrook Estate. Great to have you with us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Shannon, you have a beautiful home, but I will say I would love to be kicked back on a couch at Meadowbrook right now in that big estate. It is so regal and so incredibly beautiful.
Yes, I would agree. Of all days, I was disappointed I wasn't able to show you the great background that is Meadowbrook Hall. So today we're settling for my fireplace.
Which your fireplace looks great as well.
All right, thank you. It's not Meadowbrook for sure. Definitely not Meadowbrook.
But, just like a house can really take on like a different setting in the different seasons right now. And with Meadowbrook in the middle of winter and the beautiful snowfall that we're having, it really is a beautiful place to visit.
Absolutely. It's so majestic. We just had some beautiful photos of a bride and groom who got married outdoors at Meadowbrook just this past weekend. And it's beautiful of the bride and groom in front of the house and the snow is just falling. It's picture perfect. So there is something to be said about these kind of cold days, the snow, but there's something about it. It's absolutely beautiful all times of the year.
I'm sure they appreciated the snowfall behind them as well.
I think so too. That really worked out for them.
Or at least their photographer did. Shannon, with that, tell us about some of the events. So are you still able to have weddings and events there at the estate?
So as of right now, we're very limited of what we're able to do due to the current mandates and the limit on gatherings, number of guests who can gather indoors versus outdoors. So we're pretty limited on that still. What we had this past weekend was an outdoor gathering and it did not exceed the capacities. But moving forward, we're pretty quiet right now. We're really optimistic that in the spring and summertime, we'll get back to somewhat normal. And we have a lot of weddings on the books then. But we just, we take each day as it comes, but we're feeling pretty good about it.
I will say, Shannon, kudos to you and your team, because I'm trying to imagine how some of these conversations have gone when the restrictions or mandates come down like the week before a wedding that has been planned for like a year.
Yes, it is.
I would not want to make that phone call.
I will say we have an incredible sales and events team, and they've had to have had to have some very difficult conversations this year, and they've really stepped up and have done an excellent job. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not an easy conversation to have.
But with that, we're all managing during the pandemic. And I know that this past year or in the wintertime, you were trying to do the holiday lights, but that wasn't even able to continue on.
No, unfortunately, due to the mandates and again, the restrictions on gatherings, we weren't able to host the event in the way that we wanted to for our guests to experience it. And so we felt very strongly about this was the first year we were launching the program. So we felt very strongly about making sure it was exactly what we wanted it to be, other than a version of what we wanted it to be. So we felt like it made more sense to hold off and relaunch it this year in 2021.
Well, you know what's going to happen this year is we are all going to appreciate things so much more and be so eager to experience some of these events as well. So get ready for the crowd.
Yes, I hope so. I'm counting on it.
But with that, what is going on right now at the Meadowbrook?
So we just did open this February for weekends only. We are offering self-guided touring. This is new. We just opened this the first weekend in February and will be open through February. Guests can tour anytime between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. with last admittance at 3 o'clock. And we have hosts that are stationed throughout the home so that they can ask any questions they may have while they're touring the home at their own leisure. It's a little different. Obviously, we've made some changes due to the COVID precautions. It being a self-guided tour is one of those changes. Normally, you would get a docent-led tour with a group of folks gathered in one area, and then you would tour through the house. So we've made some changes like that. We also must require guests to purchase tickets online in advance, which also then helps us prepare so that we're not exceeding capacities and we're able to plan as guests are entering the home.
So once they get their ticket online, do they have so much time to actually go through the home?
They can stay as long as they would like. We just ask that the house closes at 4 o'clock. So as soon as they can stay as long as they would like, and plan their visit as long as they would like to stay. It usually takes about an hour to an hour and a half, but with the self-guided, pace, it could be even longer because you can really take your time to look at something a little bit longer. You're not getting, moved along with the group, which is kind of nice.
But with that, are you finding that they're selling out because you've had to limit the capacity and so many people are looking for things to do with their family and their kids right now?
Yes, we're actually really pleased. We didn't know what to expect when we made the decision to open the house on the weekends for touring. We've been very pleased. They essentially have sold out every weekend. We don't capacity. We cap it at about 100 guests for the duration of for the day. And we've been very pleased with the results of that. And I think to your point, people are looking for things to do. They want to get out. It's a safe experience. They're able to enjoy it at their own pace. So we've been very, very pleased with the outcome.
Shannon O'Berski with us here on the Megacast. She's the Director of External Relations for the Meadowbrook Estate. I know that I've gone online quite a few places and different things looking for things to do. And some of these events are sold out for like weeks in advance. Where do you stand right now on your reservations? Is it pretty much a week or 2 weeks out?
I would say about a week out, although because we've just been open recently, I think we're still getting the word out. I would say folks, as long as they some of them can even purchase it the day before or even the morning of. We just ask that they do purchase the tickets in advance so we can prepare. And we can sell out. Like I said, we're at capacity, but we can manage when people come and go too. So that allows us a little bit of wiggle room, if that makes sense. Once people exit, others can enter.
Shannon, I will say this isn't good for people such as myself. I'm not a planner. I'm a spur of the moment person. Yep. And it's really make life hard. Like I went to get tickets for tubing at the farm. They have like the glow lights tubing. It's sold out for the rest of the season. I'm like, wait a minute. I can't even make a hair appointment 2 weeks out.
I know. And it does seem now that with COVID, right, everything is so extended so much further out. So it will still work for you though, Ronnie, because you can purchase a ticket that morning, right? So that you're not going to lose the opportunity. So you can still be spur of the moment, just purchase it in advance so that we're able to prepare.
That's pushing it, but I'm getting better.
Okay. But how about on the ride over to the hall, then maybe do it there.
There you go. So with that, Shannon, too. So is there anything like, can they enjoy the outdoor grounds as well? Which I know, right now it is like 0 degrees, but
it is 0 degrees. It is still beautiful. So the grounds are open as well as the hall. They're certainly able to walk around the grounds if they'd like to enjoy that. The paths aren't very groomed or anything prepared for those sort of activities, but they can certainly bundle up, take a walk around the property, look at the exterior of the home, which is also quite beautiful. So they can do that as well. We also do have an app that's for indoor touring as well as our outdoor touring. So folks, if they just wanted to download the app and just explore outside, they could as well.
But it's a beautiful backdrop to take pictures. So if you wanted to do, now is maybe the time of thinking next year's Christmas card, because when you go to do it and it's November and there's no snow, you want snow, you don't have to Photoshop it.
You're right, because there never is snow when we want it to be, right? It's,
Exactly. See, plan ahead.
See?
Shannon O'Berski with us here on the Megacast. With that, Shannon, too, you just mentioned the app. Does the app also help you if you're doing these self-guided tours to give you background and to talk to you about some of the things that people are seeing?
Absolutely. So we actually launched the app just this past summer when the COVID hit, and we were trying to figure out ways that we can continue to engage our audience. So it's been quite successful. So guests now, when they arrive, they can download the app in advance, or they can download it when they arrive to the hall, and they can basically use it to click on a picture of any room that they're in, and it'll give them more information about that room. Sometimes they'll tell a story about the family and how it relates to that room. There'll be historical images as well as current images. So yeah, it gives visitors more of an insight into what they're seeing, especially since they don't have a docent-led tour. It allows them to explore a little bit on their own. And then, like I said, we have hosts that are stationed throughout the home that can answer questions, but this allows them to sort of delve in at whatever pace they would like to.
So Shannon, do you anticipate concerts are going to be coming back to Meadowbrook at all this next summer?
I absolutely hope so, yes. So we are anticipating and planning for that to start with the summer concert series again. They were very popular last year, and we actually had them through the fall as well. Because of COVID, they had a very positive response. So we do have them on the books, so to speak, planning to proceed with them in June if we're able to. It's an outdoor concert, so we're very hopeful that it shouldn't be a problem.
It's to me, it's one of the best venues to go see a concert. The older I get, I no longer like to go to Ford Field or, well, it used to be the Palace too, and now that's gone. But I like the smaller, more intimate concerts. I think they're so much more enjoyable. But with that, do you anticipate, I know it's early on, but the possibility of having to require people to either have the vaccine or to have a negative test to come on and enjoy your venue at all?
That's a good question. I don't know quite what to expect just yet. Now, currently we are requiring that they fill out the health forms before they enter the estate property. But other than that, I don't know what to expect. I'm optimistic that if the vaccines come out and we're able to get people on the property, and if we need to do that, we will. But as of right now, just like all of us, it's just so much is unknown. As of right now, the health forms is sort of a new thing that we've been doing over the last year. That seems to be helpful, and the public seems to receive it just fine. So as long as people are willing to do what it takes in order to protect the community and each other, then we'll do that as well.
Yeah, it really is going to be a crazy year that we have to continue to navigate, because even though we have a vaccine, it's like you said, there are so many unknowns. But I think they're even talking about now an app. So like if you're going to fly, you could show that you had the vaccine.
Oh, that's interesting.
It kind of like that Clear app. I don't know if you use Clear when you travel, but you could also use it to go to like the Tigers games and some of those as well. So instead of the advanced security, it will show that you've had the vaccine or maybe a negative COVID test within so many days. I think it's just going to be kind of how we operate in the next year.
It's very surreal how things have changed and how we've just gotten used to it, and we just adapt and we continue to forge ahead.
I know. And with that, still no problems though from the public, right? We all know now, 11 months into this, you're going to wear a mask. It's like, it just is what it is.
It is what it is. And, and quite frankly, at the beginning of all this, we were concerned about that. We didn't know how people were going to respond, if they were going to want to come and tour, if we had all these expectations placed upon them. But we've had no problems, and we're really grateful for that. Now guests are required to wear masks when they enter. They have to complete the health form. Touring, we have hand sanitizer stations throughout the home. The touring route is a one-way route, different entrances and exits for guests. So we have implemented all the precautions, and people seem to be embracing it, and we've had no issues, thankfully.
Yeah, and really the good thing at this point in time within the pandemic, we're not seeing the supply issues that we had in the beginning. You can find a mask anywhere. You can find hand sanitizer. Clorox wipes are back.
Yes, I do remember that it's like if you saw them at the store, they were always gone, and now they're back in abundance. You're right.
Right. There was that little surge where toilet paper started to be empty again. Like, in the summer, it's like, wait a minute, did we already learn? It's okay. We're going to have enough.
It is funny. Group psychology of all of it. It is very funny, but yeah, we've been great about that. We've been thankful for that. And the fact too, like masks, to your point, like everything's branded now. We even thought, should we get a Meadowbrook Estate mask? I mean, that seems to be the thing. So who knows?
Most definitely. It's like you said, it's just kind of the way. And now you buy a mask to match your outfit.
So. I know, right? You coordinate them. Who would have thought?
Right. Well, Shannon, it's been great having you with us. Quickly though, before we let you go, is there anything maybe I didn't touch on that you want to share with our listeners and viewers before we say goodbye?
Oh, sure. I would love for you to come take a tour. Please visit our website, meadowbrookhall.org. You can purchase tickets in advance. We're open during the weekends on February from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And check back on our website for touring dates coming through the spring, March on through the spring.
And it really is quite beautiful there in the winter time, and it makes for an amazing backdrop if anyone wants to go and maybe do some pictures in the middle of winter, enjoy the snow while we have it.
Right, exactly. Right.
Well, Shannon, thanks again for your time. We appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Perry tested positive for COVID-19. Emma was exposed to a friend who's positive. Willa's waiting on test results. After any contact with COVID-19, or if you test positive, stay home for at least 10 days. If you live with others, keep your distance and wear a mask. Help Michigan contain COVID-19. Visit michigan.gov/containcovid.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
Back with us here on the Megacast. It is a very cold, and pretty Tuesday morning out there, Tyler.
Yeah, so far it's very nice. It looks really nice out. It looks really nice out there. It's very picturesque winter in Greater West Bloomfield so far today. The road's not so picturesque, not so fun. Hopefully they've improved. We'll talk about that more in a few minutes with Craig Bryson from the Road Commission for Oakland County. But a beautiful winter's day with the snow out there, albeit not as fun once you actually are venturing into that snow.
So hopefully a little bit later, my husband doesn't know this yet, but it's his off day. So I want to take our dog sledding. We've been talking about it. Well, I've been talking about it, and I think she'll enjoy it. So we have a little sled hill here in the neighborhood. She's going sledding.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm sure she will very much enjoy that. I think that it'll be a nice time out there full of snow. Get that heated blanket ready to go to warm her paws up and get the snow off and get all of that off, because she's going to be full of that when she's going down that sled hill, Ronnie. You know it.
Well, he just took her out and put her coat on her. And so we have a towel warmer that we got for Christmas years ago. And so we keep it by the front door and we put the dog's towel in there. So when she comes home or comes back from outside, you have a warm towel to wipe her feet and her paws with that. Hey, Tyler, I have to ask you, because it's funny how some things that you post on social media, you expect you're going to get a big response, and other things like nothing. But I will say the biggest response I'm getting today, when it comes to punchki, what's your favorite flavor? Everyone has a favorite flavor, although no one is listing plum or prune. Ew.
Yeah, I feel like prune is not exactly something that people are clamoring for. Like when someone's like, you know what, I'd like to have something that's a little fruity and it has that little sweet punch to it. I don't think the first thing to go to is, you know what, I feel like prunes today. I don't think anybody is clamoring for prunes whatsoever, no matter if it's Punchki Day or any other day of the calendar year.
What's your favorite flavor?
Me, I'd probably either go with, like you said earlier, custard or strawberry. I like both.
Yeah, I'm a custard person, but yeah, the jelly ones as well. But again, Hamtramck, it may be in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a snowstorm, but people are still lining up outside the bakeries to get the original punchkis, because, you know, there are some things that if you're going to eat 500 calories and 20 grams of fat, it should be worthy. Don't get it from your local grocery store like I did, the local Dunkin' Donuts drive-through. Not worth the calories. If you're going to eat and enjoy those last calories before Lent, do yourself a favor and go to Hamtramck. Have you ever gone there for Fat Tuesday?
I have not. I've not gone to the actual location before. It's usually just so busy there, and I'm busy with other things that I haven't had a chance to go down there. Of course, you hear great things about it. That's why you have people so passionate in conditions like today, and people are still venturing over there and still trying to get their fix from the original location, from the source here in our local area on Punchki Day. And it shows the passion for it and the quality also. And we've talked around trying to get some people to potentially come on the show today to talk about that. And I know that Jake Kustash, our booking producer, has tried that out, and they're so busy that they're like, we can't even give you all that much time. We can give a couple of minutes for a quick bite for the mainstream news stations, but long length interviews just not going to happen. We are fully booked today getting people their punchki.
Yeah, it is a crazy day for them. Dutch Girl Donuts, too, if you've ever been to the city of Detroit, they're right there on Woodward. Woodward, I think it's like 8 Mile, just over the border from Ferndale. I will say Dutch Girl Donuts, another great place to go for punchkis, so you don't even have to go to Hamtramck. But it's like you said, they're crazy busy. I reached out to them as well. Like the line wraps around the building and down the street. But you know what the great thing is it really is a tradition here in Detroit, but also Chicago. I think Toledo is maybe another place. But when you go outside, like down south, they don't have, Fat Tuesday's not a big day. I mean, of course, New Orleans, but it's not punchki. No one knows what a punchki is. They're like, huh? What are you talking about? Is that a jelly donut? It's like, no, don't say that.
Yeah, it's very much a regional thing in the Midwest, particularly in Michigan and some other places, like you said, select places like New Orleans that have at least some idea what you're talking about. Maybe it goes by a different name in some other places, but culturally, it's really mostly a fix here in the Metro Detroit area and parts of the Midwest.
Wow, and you know, that is one of the great things that about our community. It is a very diverse community in which we live in. And because of that, then we get to enjoy so many of these cultural events as well. And I don't think there's anyone out there who doesn't want a punchki. So, hey, Tyler, we are right now waiting to get Craig Bryson with us. But while we work to hook him up, why don't we take a quick break, and then we'll talk to him on the backside of the break.
The coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so. those with symptoms and those without. If you're leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
The only way to beat COVID-19 is to face it.
You can't get too comfortable.
You can't forget the danger.
Wear the mask. Wear the mask.
Wear the mask. Wash your hands.
Keep a safe distance.
Especially in the next few months.
You know we'll get back to normal.
We'll get back to normal.
We'll get back to normal.
Someday.
But not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But not yet.
But not yet.
Consider virtual gatherings for the holidays.
Curbside food orders.
Grocery delivery.
And shopping local. Shop local.
And especially shopping local.
Let's beat this virus. We can if we face it together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together. Together.
Together. Together.
For the latest information, visit oakgov.com/COVID.
Thank you for being with us again on the Megacast. A lot of people working from home today because of the snow, and we're all used to it now. But one person who still managed to shovel out his driveway and make his way into work, Craig Bryson, with us here on the Megacast with the Oakland County Road Commission. Great to have you with us, Craig.
Thank you. Great to be here.
You know, it probably wouldn't look so good to some of your drivers if you work from home today.
That's very true. They're out spending long hours out in this weather. So, yep, that's true.
It is crazy. You know, Craig, I have to say, my husband last night was kind of laughing. And I want to remind him, he does sports. He's never had to be one of those people to stand out for hours on end during one of these crazy snowstorms. So he gets the ruler out last night. He's like, 8 inches. That's not that much. We're okay. He's not up there this morning shoveling it, you know, but it is a lot of snow, even though we were lucky in the fact that it is a lighter, fluffier snow. Does that make it easier for your road crews?
It absolutely does. When it's real heavy, wet, it's a lot more wear and tear on the trucks to push that kind of heavy, wet snow off the road. So we will definitely take this.
So with that, give us your plan of attack on a day like today. At least
Sure.
The weather people got it right?
They did, which they have not done with a lot of consistency so far earlier this year. So we're glad to see that, I guess. But so we first came in about 1 a.m. This morning. We had our trucks in, and we went to full run coverage almost immediately, which is 106 trucks. And just started hitting it hard. The biggest challenge we had was that we had snow coming down at about an inch an hour for a while, which is when it's snowing that hard, it makes it look very quickly like we haven't been out there. We can plow a road and, within an hour, you got an inch of snow on it. 2 hours, it's 2 inches. It looks like we haven't been there. So it was really hard. We feel like we're treading water when it's doing that. So.
And 106 trucks, it sounds like a lot, but how many miles of roadway are you trying to clear?
That's a great point. So we have 2,700 miles of our own road and then 240 miles of state highways, which is mostly the multi-lane freeways. So yeah, it's a lot of road to cover.
I went out this morning because I had to get my punch keys. And I will say it was pretty good once you got on the main roads. It was, for most of us getting out of the neighborhoods and subdivisions.
And that is still our challenge. We still have not, we've just begun to do the subdivisions. We've actually got, of those miles of roads, around 1,300 miles are subdivision streets. And, safety dictates we first address the roads with the most traffic moving at the highest speeds. So we start at the freeways and work our way down. And the subdivision streets with the least traffic at the lowest speeds are the last we get to. And, with 8 inches of snow, that can be, prevent some people from getting out of their driveways. So we appreciate that, and we're trying to get in as quickly as we can. But it's going to take us at least a couple of days to get all the subdivision roads cleared out and good to go.
And the other big thing that I noticed this morning, the drifting. It was, because you would have snow a few inches deep, but then in other areas, it was well over a foot just because of that wind.
Absolutely. We had two big problems in addition to just the snow. We had two big problems overnight, and one of them was the wind. It just kept blowing the snow back onto the road. In a couple of occasions, it actually blew the snow off the road, which was nice, but that wasn't most of the case. But the other problem we had was the temperatures. It was down in the single digits in most parts of the county, and the salt doesn't work. Of course, when we have 8 inches of snow, it doesn't do any good to salt on top of the snow anyhow. You have to move the snow out of the way first and then salt. But we basically stopped salting until the sun came up this morning. We had most of the heavy snow moved, and the temperatures came up, and then started salting again.
So as you go through the day, will the crews be able to go home, eat some punchkis, get a break before they have to come back in and continue on?
Yeah, in fact, our policy is they can work up to 16 hours, and they have to take at least a 5.5 hour break. So a lot of those people that came in, I can't do the math that quick, but came in at 1 o'clock in the morning are going to be leaving, this afternoon, early evening to go back and get some rest. And then we'll have a smaller crew on until those people get rested and come back, and we'll hit it again real hard trying to clean up things before the next snowstorm comes in.
Well, before we get there, I will say, so, I've been out with some of the snowplow crews before. I think I've gone out with like Detroit drivers and this, that, and the other in the past. And one thing that I think is good this year is a lot of people aren't on the roads like they normally would be because of the pandemic and so many people working from home. Is that aid in what you're trying to do out there?
Absolutely. That's been a big help. While the traffic has picked up a little bit in recent months, it's still, as you know, it's not where it was pre-COVID. And it used to be, during normal non-COVID times, during morning rush hour, our trucks can just sit there in traffic and not do anything. It's actually very ineffective to have all of our crews out just sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic in rush hour. Now we can at least get something accomplished during rush hour. It's not as much as we can get during the middle of the day or during the middle of the night, but at least our trucks can move and we can get a lot more done. So yeah, that has definitely helped this morning.
But you still have those drivers that act like they've never been in snow before and get pretty close to the snow trucks and the snow plows as well. I've seen them. I'm like, what are you doing? Move over.
Absolutely. And we had, unfortunately, an unfortunate case this morning where somebody rear-ended one of our snow plows on I-75. And, fortunately, both the driver and our driver, walked away without any serious injuries. But the motorist car was totaled. I mean, you don't do well when a car hits one of those big orange trucks. And he was just tailgating and got too close and hit the truck. And we're just constantly trying to remind people, don't crowd the plow. And the reasons for those are big pieces of equipment. They take a lot of space to turn, to slow down. And if a car hits one, the car does not win that collision. The car comes out in much worse shape. So please, for your own safety, don't crowd the plow.
So we have had a pretty mild winter so far, but now it looks like we're going to get hit again later this week. How do you prepare for that when it comes to your crews?
Well, this is really tough coming, right on the heels of this one. And, prior to this storm we were out Friday night, all night Friday into Saturday. We had just enough of a dusting of snow to make things a little bit messy. So then the crews had, basically Sunday during the day to rest, and then they were out again at Monday, 1 a.m. Monday morning. So there's been very little rest in this last couple of days, and we anticipate for the next week. So that is particularly tough on the drivers. And to their credit, they take this very seriously. Many of them see themselves kind of like first responders, and they see it as a real public service, and they're very enthusiastic about doing it, and they know there's going to be long hours. Doesn't make it any easier. They still miss family events. They still miss, the time they have at home. They miss sleep, so it's tough. And we have to try to logistically balance that. We bring in other people who don't normally drive trucks. Some office staff actually go out and get in trucks. We hire part-time people in the winter to augment the truck driver staff. But it's a real logistical challenge. It's a human challenge. That's probably one of the hardest things about the winters here.
Can you supplement the crews with private companies at all?
We do. We have a number of private contractors on call. The threshold to call them in is usually 6 inches of snow. So if we get more than 6 inches, we call them in. So they are in right now helping out clearing the back roads for us. So that helps as well.
I'm thinking like 6 inches of snow. It's so much though when you're out trying to shovel your driveway or also, walking the dogs. I always feel for these little dogs.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
can easily get lost in this, right?
Right.
So with that, if someone is out, they see one of your crew members, if they're stopped at the coffee shop, do them a favor, get them a hot coffee, say thank you to what they are doing, because it's like what you said, Craig, they're working around the clock and they're doing it away from their families. So
they are. Yeah. And not only is it a long, it's tough to drive in the worst possible conditions with a huge truck, for 16 hours. So I absolutely appreciate those sentiments.
And with that too, Craig, how has it been for you and the road commission right now during the pandemic and trying to get enough employees?
It's actually been tough. Every year we do, hire part-time seasonal employees to help out in the winter. And we've had a real tough time this year getting people to come in that have the proper driver's licenses and some experience driving a big truck. Much harder than in recent past years. So that's been a challenge.
So what is the hiring process like?
We post on our website. We send out media releases, and any way we can spread the word that we're hiring, we let people know. And it's really for what it is. It's a great paying job. $20 an hour to start. 20 hours a week or so, sometimes more, and if we need them in additional hours. But if you're looking for part-time work, you have a commercial driver's license with an A designation. It's a great gig, and we invite anybody that's interested to give us a call.
Most definitely. Hey, Craig, my husband was shaking his head at me this morning because I was originally going to try to take my smart car out to get my punchki because it had been sitting in my garage. I didn't have to shovel off the snow. And he looked at me like, that car's not going to make it out of the driveway.
Probably not a good call today. I can appreciate that, having had some small cars.
I know, but I want to say I just hate shoveling, brushing the snow off of the cars. And with that, too, you see so many drivers who don't do the top. And then it blows off of their top onto other drivers and stuff. So just be a little bit considerate this morning. Take a little bit additional time to clear off your car as well. Craig,
Absolutely.
Great talking to you as always.
Likewise.
Anything quickly that you want to add before we let you go?
Just to remind people to still give themselves some extra time to get where they're going. Better to take your time and get there safe than rush and run into the back of a snowplow or something like that. So please slow down, take your time.
And don't crowd the plow. How many times have you said that in your career?
Oh man, thousands and thousands probably.
Well, and it's sad, we always still need that reminder because, if people weren't having the accidents and weren't doing the things that they shouldn't be doing during these snowy winter conditions, we wouldn't have to remind them. So great to have you with us, though. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Great to be with you and appreciate all you're doing.
Okay. And again, tell your crews we said thank you and we appreciate them, and stay safe and stay warm today.
Thank you. We'll do that.
Craig Bryson with us here on the Megacast with the Oakland County Road Commission. We're going to take a quick break here on the show. And when we come back, we are going to be talking with Protege Game Studios. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Perry tested positive for COVID-19. Emma was exposed to a friend who's positive. Willa's waiting on test results. After any contact with COVID-19, or if you test positive, stay home for at least 10 days. If you live with others, keep your distance and wear a mask. Help Michigan contain COVID-19. Visit michigan.gov/containcovid.
COVID-19 has caused many families to fall behind on finances and on groceries. But you're not alone. You shouldn't have to worry about putting food on the table. My Bridges offers access to quality food and income assistance to help families across the state get the food support they need. It's easy to apply and easy to start shopping. Apply for services at michigan.gov/MIBridges. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
About 20 minutes left here in the show, and always as a reminder, you can catch us on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. If you have a cable, we want to say thank you, because a portion of your fee does help support programming such as this. On Comcast, you'll find us on channel 15. And if you have AT&T, you can tune us into channel 99. And of course, you can always listen to us on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. And then also thank you today to the West Bloomfield Parks Department for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Megacast on their Facebook page. Always a great partner, the West Bloomfield Parks Department. They've been having so many fun pop-up events right now in the winter, so check out their Facebook page. You know what else is happening a lot right now? People staying home, and once they're done binging Netflix, we're going old school, playing video games. With us now, Shannon Newton. He's the owner of Protege Game Studios. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, Ronnie. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so tell us about your studios, because you're actually teaching the next generation.
Yes, that's correct. That's what we built our studio on, with an education background. My educational background has been in computer science, master's in business. And before I even started this, I was in a multimedia creative platform. And that was at the time when we had disc. You know, they put the encyclopedias on disc. That's how far back I go with this. But I discovered programming, and I really wanted to kind of bring the love of video games and my background into a cohesive business. And it was the studio concept, and training and teaching kids how to build their own video games. And that's where we're in school.
This is awesome. It really is amazing, and allowing them to have that skill, but also understanding the technology that goes into designing these video games. Is this industry exploding right now?
It is. As you can see online, kids are immersed in all the different types of video games that's attracting their attention, especially during the COVID shutdown times. I think it's definitely taking their attention into the video game market. But, we want to hijack sort of that process, so we can be able to kind of like say, hey, what you like playing on the screen, you can also participate in that and create. And a lot of these game platforms are also allowing those editing platforms to make that concept available to them.
So I'm going to date myself a little bit. The first video game I got, I think it was called Blimp or whatever, and it was just two little dials and a red dot. Yeah. And you were trying to, keep it on the little line and stuff. But boy, look at the technology behind some of the gaming and the industry. But we're also seeing the explosion of the esports, and some of these kids can really make a lot of money by going into this industry.
Yes, yeah, certainly in the play area. I mean, who would have thought years ago that you would be able to make a career and a living out of playing games in competition, and people actually watching this, in streams like Twitch and some of these other things where they have a fan base, excited to watch it. But, with our studio, we want to be able to have both ends, where you can be able to play to learn and create for knowledge, where you can be able to, explore in both areas.
Shannon Newton with us here on the Megacast. He's the owner of Protege Game Studios. And with that, what skills do you look for?
Yeah, the thing is with video game development, there's a lot of different disciplines that kind of come together. And whether or not it's creating graphics, animation, sound development, that corresponds with narrative, talk, with story, with music. Programming, of course, is a base foundation that we work in. Project management crosses this. And so we kind of bring together a lot of different disciplines and pathways for kids to explore in our platform.
So I was, I have to say, I was ignorant to the world of gaming and how big it has become until I saw a Real Sports segment where they were going into these arenas and these kids were competing and making so much money, but also then going behind the scenes and creating the games as well. So for the parents that are saying, hey, they're spending too much time on their video games, what do you say to them?
I say, hey, there's plenty of platforms out there, but we're one of them, where you can be able to explore that area, that creative area. You have a pathway. With our studio, we offer courses online, and it's available now to all the students in high school, middle school, where they can go through Michigan Virtual and take our courses for free through their school system. And so, we're reaching out to the students and saying, hey, not only can you play the games, but you can also learn how to create them. And there's lots of opportunities out there like ours.
That is so great. And with that is, since so many of the kids are learning remotely now and they do all have access to a computer, is that helping you reach more kids?
It certainly is. We had one foot in it tentatively, before all this, but it just really accelerated the whole kind of focus for us and saying, okay, we need to get fully online with our creative editing platforms. We got an online editor where students can be able to access all the code, all the files, all the creative content right through their web browser, along with the content from the classroom. And so they follow along. Of course, the great thing with Zoom now, we can be able to connect with them online, connect, right with their code, and be able to help them one-on-one through it. It's not ideal. You want to have that balance with, in person in our studio, but it's kind of finding that unique platform where it can be able to kind of do both and do it well.
I didn't even know what Twitch was. I was like, what are you talking about, Twitch?
Yeah, platforms come and go, and that's certainly a really popular platform, and I think that's owned by Amazon now. And kids are tuned to it and watching all sorts of things happen.
How do you figure out what is going to be the next hot game?
Well, that's the mystery for all of our studios. If we knew that, we would have winners all the time. And that is the magic sauce everybody's trying to find. It kind of comes together with timing, right content, the right thing that hits with kids and the eyeballs, for them, the attention. I've saw some great stuff get created and it go nowhere. And other stuff that you would think that wouldn't be popular are popular. And it's an interesting creative platform that you're in with game development.
Right, because it's you have the mindless things such as like, what was it, Angry Birds and Candy Crush, those, they seem to have gone away. But then you have some of them, there's a lot of skill that goes into playing some of these games.
Oh, absolutely. At my time, I'm going to date myself again with this, with Quake and the areas. We used to, hook all our computers up at college and play these local LAN games. Rudimentary graphics in that compared to what they've got now. And I see these kids, they got buttons all in front of them and joysticks and things, and they're just moving from things seamlessly and effortlessly. And I just look at that just amazed. Dexterity and everything they put into it.
So with that, Sandon Newton with us here on the Megacast. He's the owner of Protege Game Studios. I have to ask you, what are your thoughts on the entire esports arena? We have Oakland University now that is actually, they have a team and they provide scholarships and training just like their, what we would say typical athletes, their football players, their basketball players. When you have that conversation about people of this being a sport, what is your response?
When I first heard about it, I was like, what? I had a friend that was a professor at one of the digital programs here in West Michigan. And he said he was going to be leading this new team of esport athletes. And once he was explaining it, to me, and I knew this was big thing, but I didn't realize that colleges were getting involved in this and using this as a tool for recruitment to bring them into their schools. And kids would look at that going, yeah, I can play on the football team and I can also join the esport team. I want to go there. So the colleges are opening up to this and saying, hey, this could be a good thing. I had my doubts early on, and after he was explaining things to me and how this was working, I was like, this could be a good thing, a really positive thing. So I see it as a stepping stone, as a platform. Apparently, kids can make this into a full career if they really pursue this. In other ways, I see it as a good positive thing for the attracting into the game industry, and then also a way to bring it to me where I can be able to be on the creative side of it. So I see some things.
That's awesome. That it is just that creativity. I know that I saw an interview with members of the military, and they were saying that they recruit some of these kids that played video games because of the technology that goes into, the military and protecting our country. You think of drones, you think of some of the other equipment. It's so high tech now. And, so you are training the next generation, not just of developers, but people to go into the other industries as well.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of creativity on both sides. Even playing the games, you can see these kids, really strategize and think things through. They got to be a step ahead of what's coming and how to adapt to that. So I think it also creates a little bit of resilience, with these kids, working through these problems, which are the games.
What other skills are they learning by taking part in this program?
In my program or in the programs with esports?
Well, in your program.
In my program, they got a lot of different things that they could cross and paths that they can be able to go down, whether or not it's sound development, graphics, animation, project management, programming. My background is in with the programming side of things. But it's also kind of harnessing the different elements that go into a video game. And so they'll get a little bit of this and that, which is graphics, understanding what goes behind what creates a video game and how to make it interactive. And it just doesn't have to be a video game. It could also be a very interactive platform for companies, that they're looking to engage their customers. So if they have an understanding of how this all pulls together and works, they can use those mechanics and the understanding to be able to help with industries.
It seems like the technology changes so fast. I mean, it really wasn't all that long ago that we were carrying around a cell phone in a bag. Really, in the concept of time, how do you keep up on the technology and the changes and being on the cutting edge to teach the kids as well?
Yeah, we expose them to a lot of these different technical bottom line elements in that, but we also inject them in a way to process how to learn and pick up new information. How they look at things, and it kind of comes from my background in programming. There's a new language of programming coming out like every week, but if you have the fundamentals, you have the understanding how a lot of the stuff is working and pulling together, you can quickly adapt to these new platforms and new industries and new tech and quickly reconcile that in your head for it, to how to apply that, how to use it and get good at it. And I see that, like you're bringing it up with esports, they can easily adapt to like new games, new way of thinking and creatively, because it's based on good foundational things that they're in that space with. And so that's what we try to do in our creative industry, is build a good foundational base so they can be able to apply it everywhere.
Yeah, we always need to start with the basics. I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second. What's your favorite game?
I'm old school, and I'm going to show. I liked the old classic. I like the old LAN games, and I like the human interaction with that. It's missing something when you're connecting a lot of people online with the video and stuff like that as you're playing. There's a lot of human element for that. So I always liked the old Quake games, the 1942s, the EA Sports, anything that connected. And so everything's gone main server, more online, and Zoom calls. Even we're thrown into that right now, of course, with the whole COVID, but it's really escalated with that. And we have to learn how to adapt to both of these things. We're human, and then we're also on the digital platforms and using these tools. How do we make those things work?
And has the pandemic in some ways helped your business, or has it hindered it?
Yeah, it has. When it hit us, we were at schools, career days and talking to them about the studio things that we offer for them and our courses. And when it hit, it hit like everybody else. It was like, what is this? What does this mean? How long is this going to go for? How can we adapt to this? At the worst of it, we had to let go of an employee, and then thank God we were able to bring them back, like right away, once we kind of refocused on what we needed to do. And so in a lot of ways, it was a good thing, because it was kind of going down this path, a lot of stuff connecting online and Zoom calls. And, it's like, how do we do both?
I had never even heard of Zoom before this.
Yes. Yeah. It just came out of, they had an opportunity. Everybody just jumped on it. So again, those things, we don't know it's going to be popular, so we have to adapt.
So if someone is listening to this quickly, Sandon, and they want to get their kid involved, how can they learn more about the program?
Yeah, our page is protegestudios.com. And what you want to look for is our programs that we offer, but it connects to Michigan Virtual Catalog, which lists a lot of different opportunities in their areas for classrooms, not just us. We think we're pretty unique with game development, but if you go to protegestudios.com, go to our educational space, what we offer for courses, that will link you to a contact form for them to fill out, quick name, interest, and we'll get contact information to them, what they need to do. It's a simple form. Talk to their school counselor, their parent, sign, send to us, and it's in. You're in.
So it really is a good way for parents to also connect with their kids as well. If they're playing video games, hey, if you're going to play for hours on end, we're going to teach you something as well. Sandon, I will tell you, if I ever, maybe you and I, if we ever see each other in person, I will take you on, and we.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Is we even still a thing? We have ours. It's like, in the closet.
Yeah. No, I do too. I've got the Wii, great platform. So
I always like the bowling.
Yeah, that's fun. I always end up throwing the whole remote and everything right against the TV or the wall. So
I don't know, do they even still sell those? I don't know.
Well, in like game shops, they're GameStop and places like that used, and they still have them. But they got other kind of interesting platforms out there now too. So it's always changing.
Well, it's been so great having you with us here on the show. It's just a great platform that you have that you're offering to the students, because they can learn so many skills, and really this is an important avenue that it can help lead them in their future path down the road.
Thank you for having me, Ronnie. Much appreciated.
We're going to take, actually, that's going to be pretty much the end of the show there, Tyler. Tyler, how are things going back there in the studio?
Everything seems to be going smoothly so far. Today was a really good today we had a really good show. No real major issues. Seem to have taken care of those little kinks in the armor we found yesterday. We're going to continue to tweak things over here, but technically a very good show, and I think we had good content as well today from our many great guests.
So is it easier to run the board and all of the equipment there, Tyler?
It's a little bit more than it was before, but it's all in the same kind of process overall. There's a couple more things we got to adjust over here in order to keep things in line. It's a little more reaching to do than necessarily it was in the tight confines of the previous studio, but it's really nice, and it's a versatile studio as well, which always helps for the productions that we do at Civic Center TV.
I will say I have not heard of another public access station that has done this. I mean, really, you're able to operate it there by yourself, but also take advantage of so many of the different platforms, TV, radio, as well as social media. And I think that really Civic Center TV and you and Dave and Eugene, you're paving the way of the future and being able to bring this program to the public and, an easy manner and different platforms so that they can access it.
Yeah, it's all about being versatile today in the media, because people want to be able to listen to content in an audio form if they're on the move. They want to be able to watch content on demand if they're at home and in their own time, and being able to produce content for a variety of platforms for everybody's preference is key. And to do that, you got to be technically fresh and versatile, as the studio and what we're doing here at Civic Center TV provides us to be.
Well, it's great, and we're lucky to have them behind the scenes to help us to be able to do that. That's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the Megacast. Stay safe and stay healthy.